How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid. It ended up having a red day, and there's some price action that I have been noticing, and I want to share it with you guys inside of this video. One thing that is very clear though, we are seeing a lot of volatility in these markets. I was telling you about the 10-year yield and how it can impact growth stocks, especially ones who are not profitable as of yet, and this is what we've been seeing inside of the market. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis on Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $26.97, being down 2.11%. On the low, it tested $26.40, and then on the high, testing $28.33. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 22.374 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 39.953 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, and of course we saw some weakness inside of the stock. Now when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 32.30. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 50-day, the 100-day, the 21-day EMA, and as well as the 200-day. So for Lucid, it does continue to be in a bear market since we are trading below the 200-day. It ended up seeing a high of $28.33. So going into tomorrow, if you see another pop to 28 and it's unable to get to 29, of course, it's going to continue to look bearish. We did see a low at the day at 26.40. So this is why I say if you see more weakness in the market, then we could easily start testing into the $25 level. We did see this level all the way back here on January the 28th. So that is one thing that you want to keep in mind. So you'd want to see if 25.60 can hold. If it cannot hold, this is where you want to see if it can hold up the $25 area. As far as for strength, like I was saying previously, you need to get above the 200-day, which is at $29.17, and then you want to see if it can get past $30. But for the most part, let's see how it performs going into tomorrow, but it seems like it does have a lot of demand when it comes to this $26 area. So now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So as we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for February the 7th, we have PYA Waltman Capital LLC that purchased 285 shares, and we also have Pinnacle Private Wealth LLC that purchased 6,474 shares, and then we see closed positions from Herald Insurance Investments and Financial Services Limited, and as well as Arid Wealth Advisors LLC. And then we also go down further, we see Pro Equities that went in with a call, and we also have SG America Securities LLC that went in with a call, and we have a value of 200,000 shares. And we also have Eversource Wealth Advisors LLC that purchased 9 shares. We have a closed position from Barber Financial Group Inc. And then we also see from Mitsubishi UFJ Kawasaki Asset Management Co. Limited 155,270 shares as well. My apologies if I ended up butchering that. And now when we take a look at the short interest, the dark pool short volume ratio is at 59.04%, and then for the dark pool short volume being just over 5.93 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 0, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is currently not available. Now, when we take a look at the history of the short volume, you can see for the close of the third, it's at 60.68, and then for the close of the fourth being at 59.04. So what this tells us right away, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential, and it's part of the reasons why if you have a lot of buying pressure coming into the stock, you could see some moves to the upside. But of course, we are in a selling environment with all the volatility and the 10-year yield spiking and so forth. So growth stocks like these are going to continue to be impacted. So now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see here on the inflow, it's at 111, and then on the outflow, it's at 106. So it was an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, it was 0 on the large, 54.88 on the medium, and then on the small it was 55.73. Keep in mind these numbers are in the millions. Taking a look at the outflow side, we can see on the large it was 0, on the medium it was 49.43, and then on the small it was 56.61. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for today, February the 7th, it was at 0. But then for the past 3 trading days before that, it's all been outflows with having an inflow day on the February the 1st. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And of course, for the large represents whales, institutions, and funds, we have 0. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was right around 1.37%. So not too bad at all for a stock like Lucid. It also does tell us there wasn't a lot of volume overall when it comes to trading as well. So keeping that in mind, there are still many who are holding on to their positions. And as far as traders are concerned, we're not seeing as many as we saw previously. You also could have noticed this in the market overall. So this is why I'm saying when you see those moves in price action, that's when you have to start following up with your game plan and all of the homework and your due diligence that you're supposed to be doing so you can make some profits off of this play. So now let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, here's the strategy. When you look at the price action, we could see it's in a bear market. It needs to get above $29.17. As long as it decides to trade under that 200-day, this is where we're going to be seeing weakness, and that's exactly what has been happening. We do see that there's a lot of demand, there's buying pressure when it's in the high $26 level, or we could just call it around $27. But if this does decide to continue, especially since we do have a volatile week, then we could start visiting the $25 area very soon. Again, getting above that 200-day is very key for this stock. Another thing to be aware of, what's happening overall inside of the market. We're seeing a lot of growth stocks that are pulling back. We see that the 10-year yield is spiking. What is the correlation? Well, the correlation is if the 10-year keeps on spiking, it makes it more expensive to invest in growth stocks since they do trade at higher valuations. And this is why we pay attention to what the big money or institutions or whales are actually doing. Also, going on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. So this is why I'm saying if we have a lot more buying volume coming into the stock, then we could start seeing if it can make that move going to that $30 level and breaking right through it to make that move to $32.50. But for the most part, as long as we have low volume, I'm not seeing this happen. Also, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we can see from the filings, institutions are loading up on shares. But another thing to be aware of though, there's still many who are inside of Lucid holding on to their positions, and we can see that clearly from the order flow. So let's see how Lucid performs going into tomorrow. I hope you found this video helpful, and we'll be talking real soon.